Hi, everyone. Welcome to another DevRev live stream. I'm here today with my good friend Luka. Luka, how are you?
Hey, hi, Ahmed. I'm doing fine, thanks.
Yeah, great to see you. So, folks, we've talked about a number of topics recently, and for folks who have missed maybe these weekly live streams in the past, you can find all of them on our DevRev channel over on YouTube. But as it is today, we're going to continue a conversation that we actually started with a few months ago, and it has to do with MCP. And this time, what we want to do is talk a little bit about where we are in our MCP journey ourselves, where we are with our remote MCP server, which we have obviously provided as of a few weeks ago. And we actually want to talk about that journey of what it looks like to actually have a great MCP experience, because this is not something that just comes out of the box and works perfectly. And today, what we want to do is actually go through a series of conversational inputs and outputs and kind of show you maybe behind the scenes what works out of the box and what type of queries can actually require more time and effort based on tools and resources having to be either created or further annotated to get the kind of experience that you'd want to see. And we're actually going to help maybe even contrast that between the remote MCP and the local MCP server that you can also run, which we had introduced in the past. So in order to go through all of that, we've got Luka with us today. So Luka, where do we want to start?
So yeah, we can start with what actually is MCP and why we actually started working on it. So yeah, MCP is Modern Context Protocol, and it allows AI agents like Claude and ChatGPT to interact with external services, to use their tools and enable developers and the other users to streamline their processes and make things more efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. And so obviously we've gone in because we are all for interoperability. We want to make sure that we are everywhere that our customers are. And so we've been able to use MCP for a long time, and more recently we introduced the remote MCP server. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. We started with a local MCP server, and now we are working extensively on the remote MCP server because remote one is provides a better user experience. It's easier to use. User just need to know the URL, and it's good to go.
Absolutely. Speaking of URLs, for those who have not joined us on Discord, I think what we're going to do is flash the Discord server information up here. And what we'd love to do is have you join us there, because topics like MCP, connectors, AirSync, and many other topics in and around agentic AI are being discussed on our Discord server. So please join us there, and it'd be a lively discussion. But coming back to this topic, Luka, I know you wrote down a few questions that you wanted to show us live here. Do you want to start off with maybe a couple interesting questions just to see what kind of responses we can get from Claude here?
Yeah, definitely. We can start with some questions that are relevant for any developer's day-to-day work.
Okay.
So we are now using the remote MCP server that has quite some tools right now. And the most interesting tools for us right now are the ones that are related to issues, sprints, and so on. So these allow us now to query like show me the or show me what issues should I work on today. Now the AI will figure out what tools it needs to use to list the issues that are relevant for you.
Okay, and as that's going to do its work, I know one thing that we've obviously talked about is the fact that MCP is not always the fastest, most accurate way of getting information. For a scenario like this, DevRev Computer obviously would give you a much faster answer, equally if not more accurate, and then of course perhaps even more contextualized to other work that's been happening or other contexts that we've gathered. But here, if you are sitting in, Claude or some other tool that supports MCP, you can, using equal ease, get a response. And here we've got our response. What do you think?
Yeah, this looks good. It actually figure out what are, the tasks that have the highest priority for me, and I should focus next. So now I can do the follow-up questions like consider only only tasks related to, let's say, because those tasks are associated with different sprints. So
yeah,
with the MCP sprint.
yeah.
And this thing will now allow us to to actually do a group like query to figure out which one are based on MCP server and anything MCP related.
Very interesting. Okay. And did it actually go and make those calls again, or did it just filter on the data that it got in the previous run?
Right now, it considers only the data from the previous query.
Okay.
But
Which
yeah,
is nice because it's obviously faster that way.
yeah, definitely.
Okay. What's next?
Yeah, so I can also ask, do I have any issues from the previous sprint that I forgot or I don't know didn't complete it yet.
Okay. Okay. So some leftover tasks. Yeah.
Yeah, that I haven't completed yet.
Okay. Now, of course, if you're using DevRev, you could probably just create some sort of an automation so that the agent can actually remind you of these. You wouldn't necessarily have to come out here and ask this question, but as it is, just for the purposes of showing you art of possible, I think it's nice. And you can see it's showing you all your overdue tasks. I don't know if you did this just for the demo or if these are really overdue, Luka, but we'll figure that out later.
I intentionally changed the date for some of those issues so that I have some data to show.
Okay, of course you did. Sounds good. So okay, this is good. And so I think what we've seen so far is the fact that not only are you able to get issues, but this concept of sprint, which is for a more advanced topic, that's obviously a filter that you can bring in. It also understands different parts. It understands features. So you can ask it about specifically MCP sprints, and it actually knows how to reconcile that. And of course, anything that requires some level of judgment and sensibility is doing a pretty good job because the reasoning abilities are pretty strong here based on the model that we're using behind the scenes. So what else do you want to show here? Let's start to talk about certain things that are complex enough where you're not seeing consistent performance from this remote MCP just yet.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely remote MCP also struggles on some points, or there are some things that we need to polish them, definitely. Okay. So one of them is, for example, if I ask him to report the number of open tasks for the sprint, for all the sprints that I participate in.
Okay.
So here the problem is that it might struggle to figure out what are all the different sprints that I participate with.
Yeah.
And then it will struggle to actually find all the relevant issues.
Okay. And and this is not about the fact that you're asking it to do an aggregation or a count. It's actually the fact that it finds it difficult to understand what are all the sprints that you participate in.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we got quite lucky because it actually figured out all the relevant sprints that I participate with. So
let's take a look at that again. Can you expand that once more? I just want to see. So it says limit 100 sprint, and it actually knows which sprints that it needs to collect. So it actually has 3 sprints. Apparently, there's 3 sprints that you participate in. How do you think it knew that there are just 3 sprints that you participate in?
So yeah, this information was deducted based on the issues that it got in the context from the previous calls.
Got
right?
it. Okay.
But yeah, we also have a tool that you can search through the sprints, right? But it didn't use it here. So that's one of the struggles that it has. Because ideally in this query, it should use the hybrid search command or tool to figure out what are the sprints relevant to me, and then try to list issues, right?
Yeah.
But here it luckily figured out all the relevant issues there and be able to list issues for those sprints. But yeah. This is.
But I can't say you can't say it's wrong, but I think obviously this is not guaranteed to give you the right results because you might participate in an additional sprint. You just didn't have any important tasks at this exact moment in time, and that would have obviously yielded an incorrect response. Here, you happen to get a response that even though it was it was deduced in a manner that's not perfect, it gives you a reasonable answer.
Yeah. So
what else?
What else we have? So we have also some other use cases that that if I want to ask the Claude to show me the summary of all issues that I have. So maybe I can start a new chat for that one.
Sure.
So to give me a summary of all issues updated in the last day, and that are relevant to the MCP sprint 9. So this is one of the sprints that was listed previously. So this will be an interesting showcase where we can show whether the agent will actually know what. If it will know what query to apply now, or it will first try to find out what's the sprint 9 of MCP. Yeah, now that's the case, right? It will try to find the relevant sprint, and the problem is that hybrid search is right now not in the best shape. So might be that we will be switching to the local MCP. Let's try to do that because now it goes into a rabbit hole and trying to, but yeah, it will struggle.
Okay.
So
just the fact that it struggled there, you're going to actually show that exact same question now. You're going to show it with the local MCP. So let's actually see it using the local MCP server, and then we can talk about why it would have fared differently between the two.
Yeah, because here it only was able to list issues with the right filter about the date, right? But it was lacking the information about the sprint. So that's incomplete information you would get back.
Exactly.
So if I now start with the local one, ask the same question.
Yeah. And now, while this question gets answered through the local MCP version, MCP server, tell me this: what type of steps can you take? Is this a tools annotation problem? Is this a you need better tools problem? Like, how would you actually solve this? Because I know you're going to make this better, but what is it exactly that you're going to do?
Yeah, in certain times, so with hybrid search, we figure out that. So our hybrid search allows you searching through many different objects, and among them are users, issues, tickets, vistas, and so on. And that's just one tool which allows you to search through like 20 or so objects. And LLMs are usually struggling because the schema of that tool is quite extensive, and you either need to provide enough examples. So to say, if you get a query like that, then apply this kind of input to this tool in order to get the relevant data back. And that's one of the things. So it might be better if we have a search tool just for the tickets and just and another tool for issues and so on. So I think it will be performing better, at least from what we get from the local one, what we learned from there is that, yeah, it performs better if it has a less inputs and more information in the description of the tool.
Okay, and before we wax poetic about the local MCP, can we confirm that the local MCP actually fared better? It looks like it did.
Yeah, it did. So the search, because search is now pretty straightforward, it was able to find the relevant vista. It get the vista by ID, and now it searched for issues for the relevant sprint, and with the right modified date filter.
Very
now
nice.
we get back the relevant stuff from here.
Okay,
And also
fantastic.
in the end, it gives you some sort of a breakdown.
Okay, and so I think this is an important message as well for audience and viewers, is the fact that we kind of think that, you know, this is an out of the box solution, but it's not exactly, right? Because you have all these tools and resources, and you have to annotate them, and you have to make sure that the tools are at the level of granularity that's actually going to make it really easy for a model to actually reason about the tools and actually get you the right. Now, if you have too many tools, that can be a problem. If you have granular tools that are difficult to provide inputs on, through a programmatic interface that's driven by a reasoning model, that can be a problem. So there's a lot of experimentation and a lot of validation that goes into getting some consistently great results through MCP, which we can see here. You can see it working well, and you can also see it working well sometimes. And here you also saw a scenario where it didn't work at all.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a good point that you mentioned. If you have too many tools, the LLMs can also struggle on that one, because that was one of the things that we experimented at first. We provided a lot of tools to the AI agents, and it turned out that we filled in the context pretty fast. Because when the Claude starts, it lists all the tools, right? And all the schemas and so on. And we have that many tools that we fill in the context with just listing the tools. So then we reduce the amount of tools to a certain number just to provide to support some use cases. So yeah, that's also one of the things that we need to consider when building these kind of solutions.
And do we see the ability for people to actually create custom operations that can manifest as MCP tools? Can the community actually write functions or business logic and expose them directly with DevRev's Remote MCP?
Yeah, we do support such use cases. So what one have to do is to create a new snap-in. And in snap-in, he or she needs to define an operation and mark it that it will be used as an MCP tool. So once you install such snap-in, so for develop and then deploy in your organization, you can use it in your remote MCP server.
I love it. Sounds good. And of course, if anybody wants to follow up on that idea, you know, please join us on Discord, and we're happy to answer any questions around that. I know you have many other things that you want to show us. Maybe we get back to some demos.
Okay, yeah. Let's continue with this example that we have. So next things that I wanted to ask the AI here is how many tasks are still unfinished in this sprint to get an overview.
Okay. And remind me, are we still in the using the local MCP server, or are we now in the remote MCP server?
Yeah, right now we are still in the local one. So it's not the best if I switch between local and remote within one chat. So it might confuse the agent here.
I see. Okay.
Okay, so we got some breakdown. We also have some more information up above. Now, since sprint is closing in 3 days, right? We have some stuff that is not finished yet. So that was the next one.
Yeah.
Now the next question that I have is, can we actually close all the issues on time, right? Now the LLM will also try to figure out, because we have some estimations and so on in the issues itself. So based on how what days you have remaining for this sprint. It will try to calculate and considering estimations whether it's doable or not, right?
Yeah.
And now it figured out that, yeah, maybe this one is a bit complex, and maybe we can, move certain things to the next sprint. So we can also do that by just saying, right? Okay, this is P2.
Yeah.
And let's say that we want to, sorry about that.
Uh-huh.
Move, no, what did I do? And let's move this one only. Or just this one.
Okay, so you picked one issue and you're kind of moving it out of the sprint. And did you specify? I couldn't see. Did you specify which sprint you needed to move it to, or is it going to try to figure that out itself?
Yeah, it will figure out by themselves. So because we do have this, so yeah, sprints have links between previous and next. So it will know how to do that.
Okay, well that's pretty good.
Now the issue was moved to the next sprint. So
Okay,
we have one less task to complete for this one.
got it. Now you could have done this even using the remote MCP server as well, obviously. Or do you think that this would have been tricky?
Yeah, depends on actually the tool that is used to update the work and get works in the remote one. But the tricky part would be figuring out the next sprint. So if it actually, why it doesn't want to show? Okay, but yeah, if it doesn't figure out what's the ID of the next sprint, it wouldn't be able to finish this query.
Yeah, and I think that's what I don't want to call it sort of the probabilistic nature of MCP, but I mean it is there is some level of probability to how it works, right? Because it's not guaranteed to give you consistently the absolute same plan, and of course, even the tools are not guaranteed to work exactly the way you intend them to, and you may have to continue to tweak them as we are going to over the next several weeks to just make it so that they're more consistently better results that you can get through the tool. So it's a trial and error, or at least it's something that requires some level of dedicated resources to do a good job. Having the right set of tools and resources annotated properly and validated to work using scenarios and the same kind of QA that you would expect from any other feature.
Yeah, that's something we are also working on. So to provide a bunch of use cases to the LLMs through some resources or specially designed tools, so that they know what other tools they have to use in order to fulfill some prompts like this one, right? Because just based on the tool description or schema of that tool, it might not be intuitive to the LLM what to do or what parameter or in what shape the information need to be provided. So we are experimenting with that and how to enable as many use cases as we can.
Awesome. And I know we want to talk a little bit about what's ahead, but before we do that, are there any other maybe more complicated type of queries that you want to show us just to kind of end on a high note?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I can show you some really interesting dependency analysis that is capable. So let's start a new chat here.
Yes.
So what we will do here, we will try to find issues in the current MCP sprint with some dependencies, because you usually have some issue that depends on some other and so on, and you need to figure out what's the dependency graph, right? Let's
and are
try
you
it
going to
out.
do this you're doing this using the local MCP server again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still using
Would this have
local.
worked? Would this have worked with the remote MCP server, you think?
No, because of this one. So
Okay.
right now once we fixed the hybrid search, which was actually just fixed today, but it was not promoted to production yet. So in the coming days, you will be able to use this in the remote MCP server too.
But I think it's good for people to understand that, these are real. Somebody might say, well, what are these subtle differences? What do they actually mean in terms of my use cases? And the reality is it means a lot. I mean, just imagine how many of these pretty organic, intuitive questions you don't believe, the remote MCP could actually solve. Particularly this one, which actually seems really useful. And I'm glad that it's going to probably work for us in the coming days, but it's requiring actual work. Engineers are having to put some real work behind it.
Yeah, definitely. And the interesting part here is that it actually can render this thing. So you can, so it also color code the tasks here. So the ones that are green, it actually describes it here. So they are in the, so they are enclosed, yellow are in progress, pink are open, right? And then you have also, because we have stages and we also have, so the phase, and you also have the borders. And this now allows you to figure out what are the issues that we should tackle first to unblock the work on the next issues, right? So in some sense, to find out what are the bottlenecks, right? Let's go back here to, so yeah, what are the, so I can actually now close this because it's not relevant anymore, but we can also see this here, but usually it's faster if you just ask the AI to get the response here. So yeah, if we finish this issue and this issue, we will unblock some other. So let's figure out if this is actually true. So 530, it's actually quite small. Let me show. Maybe
that's going to be quite difficult. Yeah, we can make it a little bigger.
Okay, every time. Oh, here it is, right? This one. So this one is actually blocking this one, and where the, oh, I cannot move it next. So it also blocks some of this one. So yeah, if we finish this one, we can immediately start working on two new issues. So two other issues. So that's quite good insight for the developers.
I think what's really useful here is the fact that a person can actually, rather than expecting individual engineers to actually ask these types of questions, can you create a dependency diagram? Can you tell me what I should do next? Based on which issues are blocking which other issues and so on, creating adjacency graphs and so on. I think what you can really start to do is say, what, is there a quick automation that I can create that asks these exact same questions as part of AI nodes, and actually identifies the things that actually sends out notifications to people and says, what, for today's stand-up, we'd want to ask you if you can prioritize this. We can ask you to prioritize this the next day, and so on and so forth. And I think that that's a really clever way to actually put it all together. Instead of putting the onus on each individual developer to ask questions like this to actually inform themselves and prioritize the right things, you can actually start to make it easier for the rest of your team. So I think there's ways to take some of these examples. I think what we're trying to do is show you how easy it is to get pretty interesting answers here using MCP, or perhaps even not using MCP, obviously using DevRev's memory. But the reality is that you can start to do things like this and start to very easily create stand-up strategies, agile strategies for your respective teams if you're on the developer side. And of course, if you're on the sales side, if you're on the customer success, customer support side, or really any part of the business, you can do something very similar based on your systems of action and start to change behavior on your teams, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me what's next. Like, I know we've talked about obviously making the remote MCP server better, but I know there's some even more ambitious things that you're working on right now.
Yeah, we have quite some things in the pipeline. So I can show you now here. So As you saw, we have some custom configuration here in order to use our remote MCP server. So
Yeah.
that's still a bit cumbersome. What we are working on next is to have this kind of connector, like for Drive or Gmail, that already exists. So we will have an authorized. So when we get the access from the or approval from the Anthropic, DevRev will be among those. And you will be able to easily connect to our remote MCP server. So that's one thing that we are working on next. And the other thing is to bring or to have our own MCP client in the computer app.
Oh, wow.
Meaning that our agent will be able to talk with different MCP servers, remote MCP servers, using their tools to make it even more productive and to streamline the processes of and workflows of our customers.
That's outstanding. What that means is you could actually do this entire demo from DevRev's computer application on the desktop or on the mobile, and not only show you what's possible using our remote MCP server, but several others as well, which I think would be a super cool demo. Maybe we can look forward to that for some time down the line.
Yeah, definitely. So you would be easily go to Marketplace, download some MCP servers, and start using it in computer.
I love it. Sounds good. I think that's a great place for us to end. Luka, I appreciate you walking us through the subtleties of remote MCPs and how to build tools and resources and how to continue to invest in these technologies to actually get consistently strong results, which doesn't come out of the box. Hopefully, people also got to see really good examples of how in the developer world you can start to use these tools conversationally to get really useful results. And of course, many of these things map really well in other domains as well. And of course, we got to talk a little bit about where some of the bottlenecks are and where a lot of our time is going to be spent. And I'm really excited to hear that the MCP client capabilities are going to be coming into computer very soon. So thank you, Luka, and thank you everyone for joining us. We'll see you next week. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, Ahmed. Bye.
Absolutely. See you later.